Hello YouTube, it's Anders here on Watch On channel, and today I'm back with the fourth installment of the walkthrough of the four most iconic pieces of my collection. This is a walkthrough of why I really love these four watches and why they're never leaving my collection, but it's also my arguments of why you should definitely consider buying one of these pieces. And of course, as you can see today, we have the Rolex GMT Master Pepsi. I'm shooting this video outside in the summer house, so I got the natural lights, but of course you will probably also in background hear some birds singing and stuff like that. So that's just to really say that it's not like some background sounds I put into the video. It's actually because I'm outside to catch the light. So this is also will affect the video of how the watch looks in the light, because it's harder to really always catch the right light when you're using natural light. So this is of course the Rolex GMT Master 16700. So this watch was produced from the late 80s until 1999, and this was actually it's a quite interesting story, because this watch was actually produced alongside the GMT Master 2. So this is of course an older version of the GMT Master. But it's very interesting that they decided to still produce this watch, because a lot of Rolex people and a lot of watch lovers actually preferred this version to the newer GMT Master 2, even though some of the newer GMT Masters 2 are definitely superior regarding the movement. So with this watch you get the quick set date, which is a very nice function, but you don't get the independent GMT hand. So you have to really set the time, and then you have to set the second time zone with the bezel here, with the Pepsi bezel. So that's just a short entry to why I really enjoy this watch and the quite interesting story with this watch. So this particular version, as you can see, it's really fading. It's with the tritium lighting lume, and this fades and dies after about 25 to 30 years, and it's dead now. So you have no luminous material in the hour markings or the hands today. But it's quite funny how it faded, how it patinaed, because you get the yellow color with the hour markings, but still the hands are white. And these are the original hands, but you actually see quite some Rolexes where it doesn't patina equally with the hands and the hour marking. So that's why it looks like this, and I really actually enjoy it, that it's so crazy how it really patinas this watch. So I have 5 reasons of why I really love this watch and why I would definitely consider buying this watch if I didn't own it. And I'm talking more broadly about the GMT Master, the Pepsi version, and not just this version, this reference number. So of course the first one is the history. So this watch in an earlier reference number was introduced in 1955, and this was introduced together with the Pan Am Airlines, the very famous but now defunct airline from the US. And it was introduced because the personnel on the plane, they really had a hard time to really calculate how the time zones differed from where they traveled from and to where they traveled to. So the whole story is like a story of needing this complication very much to really be able to do your job in the best way. But it's also a very beautiful story of a very famous airline company in the US, which was from the days back when air traveling was a real luxury and something completely special, which it definitely isn't today. As we see today, well, air travel isn't that much of a luxury. It's almost just like taking a bus. But it really has the, you know, there's the story of when air travel was a luxury. So this is this particular version is from 1991, this example. So it's a pretty old watch. It's 27 years old right now, but it really keeps up and it keeps great time. So my reason number 2. So this is not really something I talk too much about on my channel, and I really think it's kind of it's a cliche within watches. So it's actually an investment piece, and I really don't like the thought about investment pieces. Okay, if you're really doing an investment, but all this talk about, oh, if I spend 2,000 or 3,000 US dollars or euros on this watch, will it really get up in price? Can I get my money back? I understand that you want to really be able to get most of your money back if you invest in a luxury timepiece, but all this talk about, will this raise in price, and how about the gray market and stuff like that, it's not really my cup of tea. You should buy the watch that you love and buy a watch that you will definitely cherish and and love wearing and have for many years. But I understand people really want to also secure the money they spend on a luxury watch. So this is, even though I really don't like talking about investment pieces, a great investment piece. So I bought this watch 2.5 years ago, and I paid just around $6,500 US. Today I will be able to get 7,500 to more than 8,000 in the right deal. With the right buyer, I would probably be able to get more than 8,000 US. So this is actually a watch going up in price, and they're getting harder to find. And if you want to find one, you really need to splash the cash because it's getting more expensive. So my reason number 2 of you considering this watch, it will be harder to find, it will become more expensive, and if you buy it at the right price, you will definitely not lose any money on it. So my third reason, it's an extremely useful complication. So it actually has 2 very useful complications besides telling the time. You get the date, which is a quick set date, with the Cyclops, which is very useful. But the most useful complication with this watch is definitely the GMT usefulness. So this is absolutely a perfect watch for traveling. So if you're between time zones or you're traveling to another time zone, you can set the time in your hometown, and you can set the time, the place where you're going. And I must say that the GMT complication is probably one of the most useful complications ever made within automatic watches and watches in general. It's an absolutely amazing complication which is super useful. So I use this watch quite a lot when I travel to the US some summers ago. It was amazing to really just set the time and always know what time it was back here in Denmark. So a very useful complication. It's not only a luxury watch, it's actually a tool watch. It's a watch that you can use. So that was my third reason. My fourth reason is the legendary design. So everybody is talking about Rolex Pepsi, GMT Pepsi, and a lot of other watch brands are using Pepsi nowadays. So you see Tag Heuer, you see Orient, you see all these different watch companies. Even Tudor did a GMT Pepsi. Now, when Rolex did a complete new version, which is not in white gold, which is in stainless steel, so it's a legendary design. The GMT, the Rolex Pepsi design is an absolutely legendary design. And this is the way to actually get a legendary Rolex watch, a more vintage style watch, for less money than you buy for the completely new Rolex GMT Master. And you will probably also have to wait several years to get one. But you can actually find one of these, maybe the 16700 or the 167,500. You can find these watches at less than the new GMT Master is costing, in very nice condition, and you will be able to have a very legendary Pepsi design watch. So an absolutely legendary design. You can't really surpass this watch. It is among the most iconic watches ever made in the history of automatic watches. So a legendary design. So my fifth and final reason of why I really love this watch and why you should definitely consider buying this watch, it's because it's extremely versatile. So as I said, I use this watch as a travel watch because I'm doing business, so I travel between time zones. And I use this watch because it's super useful to always know what time it is back in Denmark at the office. So it's a very useful complication. It's a very useful tool for my work. But it's also a very beautiful everyday watch. I also use this as just an everyday watch. It's so colorful, and especially in the summer, it's just amazing. And if you're wearing maybe a little conservative shirt or suit at your work, you can put this watch on and you get the colorful part of your everyday dress or work dress, business dress also. So it's a perfect everyday watch. It's tough, it's rugged, it's built to last, and it looks absolutely great, and it keeps amazing time. So also I think that if you're just traveling on leisure, on your holidays, this is a perfect complication also. It really goes with everything, everyday watch, business, travel, whatever you're doing. I think this is definitely a perfect choice for a very versatile watch. Also remember, it's water resistant down to 100 meters, so you can actually also jump in the pool with this watch, although I'm never doing that because it's 27 years old and I had it serviced and I had it pressure tested and everything is fine, but I'm still a little bit scared to just jump in the water with this watch. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and tell me, why do you think that this is a legendary watch? Tell me which other GMT watches are legendary and you think that maybe you consider another GMT watch instead of this Rolex GMT Master. Also leave me a like if you enjoyed this video, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.